Hello, this is Rosalind Davis for Art Top 10, interviewing Robert Dunt at Silent Disco, curated by the fabulous Graham Crowley. And Robert's going to talk about his work that's also in the show.
Hello, Rosalind, thank you so much for turning the tables on me.
You're welcome. Nice to put you in that position for a change.
Absolutely. So, go on, throw me out a wild question to start me off.
So what is your starting point for your paintings?
So a lot of these ones, these are what I call my distortion form paintings. And the starting point is pretty much the band, the Jesus and Mary Chain. So I don't know, do you know the Jesus and Mary Chain?
Yeah.
So it's like the end of Lost in Translation, that song at the end is one of the classic kind of Mary Chain songs. And their songs were notable, so they were like very pretty, 3-chord, simple songs, but then they're covered with noise, distortion and feedback into this sort of not quite unlistenable thing, but this pretty simple song has almost vanished and you've just got this chaos. And so in a way, when I started making the paintings like this, that was my sort of idea. So I wanted something pretty in the background, maybe like a Patrick Heron painting or a Matisse or something beautiful and colourful. But then I wanted to sort of mangle it a bit. So the black and white shapes here, these are what I call my distortion forms. And they're my sort of visual metaphor for the noise, distortion and feedback of the Jesus and Mary Chain. So it's meant to be mangling something pretty, but not really to make it look horrible, to sort of make it just look more excitingly pretty than it would have been otherwise.
Well, I think it's more that, as well, it's bringing in a different element. If it didn't have the black, then it would be a pretty painting, and it's not that it's not pretty, but it just makes it have a different depth. And I just wondered as well, what are you painting with? Because these black marks are really textural, and then these ones are slightly flatter and
they're more textural than you tend to think, the paintings. So it's all oil on canvas. So these bits down here, sometimes it's like Jackson's oil painting medium, or sometimes it's just Damar varnish and terps and olive oil, linseed oil even.
Interesting.
You never know. We'll see what happens. And then the black and white distortion forms, they tend to be Jackson's painting medium. But yeah, they do end up with their own little weird textural kind of thing that comes out of them, which sometimes I try and change, sometimes I don't. It's a little bit out of control, as it's meant to be.
So do you listen to the music whilst you're painting it? No.
No.
You're just thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it, yeah. In a way, I've thought, in a way, the music is almost like an idea, and then I'm working with that idea. And then when I'm painting, I'm actually thinking much more sort of more straightforward, formal stuff in a way. I'm thinking how I can use the distortion forms to guide the viewer to different bits of the painting, which sections to leave empty, which sections to cover up, if it's going to be too covered or if it's not going to be covered enough. And it's just trying to get a balance in a way that ends up with a visual sense of that sound. So you've got a kind of frenetic visual experience.
Yeah, well, it's rhythmic. It has that's a good description. And how do you decide on the colours? So do you start with using, like you said, a Patrick Heron as a sort of starting point?
Oh, absolutely. So sometimes I've totally taken stuff like a Patrick Heron or even older paintings or Braque, and I've literally stolen the colours off them.
Okay.
And then used them in the background, which I quite like in a way, because it's almost like you're messing with those paintings from the past and sort of twisting them and disturbing them. A lot of the thing is meant to be, it's a little bit like putting a sort of Botticelli's Venus through a Jimi Hendrix face distortion pedal.
That's a really amazing idea.
So you're taking those nice things from the past and you're just kind of making them a bit more cranked and twisted and sort of, unhealthy in a good way.
And in terms of the scale, do you always work to this scale? Because I know you do quite large paintings.
Normally they're much larger. No, normally like about 2 meters square. Basically.
Yeah.
So this is much smaller, and I was doing it particularly for Graham's show. So I've actually made about 5 of them for Graham's thing, to see which one would come out.
Right.
Or actually which one Graham wanted more than the others out of.
Yeah. I mean, when you're making a smaller thing, does it, for you, feel more intimate? And like with the larger pieces, more about a physicality, a different kind of physicality, or? Interesting,
actually. I never thought of that. If it feels more intimate on the smaller ones, I'm not sure actually. I suppose it's slightly less physical, as I'm not marching around doing the thing from a big distance.
Because that's almost like you're playing music. in a way.
I see what you mean. Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
totally. Yeah, it's more like you're sort of drumming.
Yeah.
I think in a way, actually, it's still got, even on the smaller sites, it's still got much that same rhythmic.
Yeah, no, definitely.
feeling of doing it.
But maybe it's like in your mind, is it more of it's based on the kind of quieter song, but with distortion. So maybe it's.
Oh, it's interesting. No, I think I'm still going for the maximum overload sound.
Okay.
Even on the small one.
It's interesting. And how do you decide, like when you said these are the distortion marks, what are these marks here?
So I suppose, I mean, you could say these were like sort of a bass guitar or a rhythm guitar. Yeah, you could think of them as different sounds within it. But I suppose in a way, when I do it, I'm trying to remove myself back from literally trying to paint the sound. I'm still trying to make it a painting visually, primarily.
Yeah, so do you, in your mind, do you have different, in all of your pieces, for example, this is the bass, is that what it is in another painting, or does it change shape according to the music? Like, are they kind of motifs and references, like a reference library, like here's the bass, here's the...
Oh, I see what you mean. In a way, actually, as the paintings have gone on, there is more like a reference library stuff. So in the background, there's often strips. Which form the background. So like you've got a blue and a yellow and a sort of lighter violet-y strip. And then sometimes you've got these bracky kind of interruptions to that, which visually help the freneticism of it. So there is, in a way, over time, there has been a sort of collection of language that's built up.
Wow, that's really interesting. Well, it's fascinating to hear more about your work, Rob.
No.
Being on the other side of the camera.
Exactly, it was lovely. Thank you so much.
Bumbuckler.